Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of Eye of the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, and King Dio. With the release of Nintendo Switch Online expansion, with the new Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis games, a lot of journalists and YouTubers immediately came out of the gate and tried to say that the service was pointless, it had no value, it was at too high of a price point, the emulation wasn't good, there were all these problems, and I can tell you now that wasn't true, right? It's not true at all, in fact. The service is great, very reasonably priced, offers a lot of value, but I think more than that, it forever proves that there's no benefit or reason, really, to pirate games and play them on emulators. Emulation, with the release of Nintendo 64 expansion, has lost another critical battle in this space for dominance in the gaming sphere, because what exactly do pirates typically tell their audience in order to justify what they do for their audience? Typically what they do, the newest argument over the past 10 years has been they're not pirating games, they're preserving them by making them widely available on all these platforms, by making emulators designed to play these on different pieces of hardware. These games will never be forgotten, and they will continue being played and enjoyed by generations for years to come. That's the argument, right? The reality is that most of these games have been released and re-released several times over, to the point where it is impossible for me to believe that anyone who has seriously invested any time in Nintendo has not experienced them already, right? Like Super Mario 64, for example, released on N64, re-released on DS, re-released on Wii, released on Wii U, released on Switch, twice now, with the 3D All-Stars version and the Nintendo 64 online expansion. If you want to play Super Mario 64, you have a wide range of official ways to do it, right? Easily accessible. It's one of the most popular games any made. It's never going to become obscure, right? It's never going to be forgotten. It's never going to be like a lost film or something like that. It's too popular of a thing. And that is absolutely the case when it comes to every single Nintendo game, right? Everything was readily available on the Wii Shop, the Wii U Shop, and now the Nintendo Switch Online service, where you don't even have to pay for individual games. You just pay a service fee and have access to all of it. The pirates are desperately trying to downplay this, but as the service expands, as it becomes bigger and encompasses more consoles and has more games, I believe the goal is to, according to Reggie, was to get every single Nintendo game on there. There's going to be no reason whatsoever to pirate software ever again, because it's all going to be readily available on this console. It's always going to be available on Nintendo Switch Online. You just have to pay a subscription fee, and you can have access to everything. Pirates don't want to admit that, right? Pirates are still in very much denial that Nintendo is offering a superior emulation service than what they offer. So over the past couple of days, they've been desperately trying to say that oh man, we can run Mario Party Superstars. You can totally play online with friends, guys. You can totally get a 4-player game going. It totally doesn't crash. It totally supports 4 players locally. There's no reason to actually buy the game, man. Metroid Dread, we totally have it running at 60 FPS and in 4K. It's the best version of the game. Go check that out. It's a dying industry, essentially. The fact that they have to constantly do this, the fact that they constantly have to say that they're pirating and playing every Nintendo game that comes out, it just goes to show you how unappealing PC gaming is as a concept, because as a platform, because there's just nothing to play, which is why you constantly have to go after Nintendo, go after Nintendo consoles, go after Nintendo fans, and try to say that, yeah, we have the same experience, but it's better. It's superior. It runs better. It looks better. These are the definitive versions of the game. They're not, though. Like, they're not the best versions of the game. They always have these issues that they conveniently don't tell anyone about. You have to jump through all of these hoops to get these games. And it's cheaper, more affordable, and more practical to just buy them outright on Nintendo Switch, buy a console, get a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, and enjoy these games. I don't see these people really doing that. Like, like these people are just desperately trying to come off as if they're like have some kind of as if they're elitists, right? As if they're like better than console gamers who actually play the games, but it's not true, and it really never was. As Nintendo Switch Online continues to grow in popularity, as it becomes bigger and more popular than Xbox Game Pass, as it eclipses the rest of the gaming industry and really helps Nintendo establish itself as a timeless brand in entertainment, emulation is going to become illegal PC emulation is going to become less and less popular, less and less relevant, and you're going to find more and more and more that these sites that you download these games from illegally will constantly get shut down. Emulators will stop being made, and games will be harder and harder to get a hold of on PC. It's happening already, but it's only going to grow exponentially in the next 10 years. Hopefully, it'll be eliminated outright in the very near future, but essentially, this idea that you're somehow having a superior experience on PC playing old Nintendo games, it's a myth. It always was, always will be. The definitive version of Nintendo games will always be on Nintendo hardware.